Good evening, everyone. Very welcome to today's session. We'll be starting with our session right now. People who are coming here for the very first time, I'll give a quick introduction of what the session is about and what we are going to do here. In the meantime, please feel free to use the chat to let us know which language you're comfortable in. If you're comfortable in Hindi, do let us know. If you're comfortable in English, please let us know that so that we can conduct the session accordingly. अगर आप हिंदी या इंग्लिश किसी भी भाषा में कंफर्टेबल हो तो वो आप हमें चैट में बताइए ताकि सेशन हम उस हिसाब से कंडक्ट कर सके. Very welcome once again to everyone present here. Today's session is a part of Apna's Community Exclusive. We do these sessions almost every day now, primarily to help with professional career growth, right? And we cover a wide variety of topics, starting from spoken English, interview preparation, helping you with technical skills, graphic design skills, whatever might help someone in their professional and careers growth. That's something that we cover. Today's session is specially designed for people who have interest in the tech and IT domain. We'll be covering how you can improve your coding skills, how you can tackle difficult problems and solve them more efficiently. And to help us with that, we have Ashwin here with us. He's a founding engineer at Code and has also worked as a software engineer in Google. So we are very glad to have him today, ideally to help freshers and graduates potentially find how they can improve their coding skills and essentially, develop their skill set to get better at their job and also improve their chances of getting placed. So Ashwin, over to you. Why don't you quickly introduce yourself and, let them know what they can expect from this session.
Hey, hi everyone. Thank you for joining this session. So, I am a Swin. I have graduated from IT recently in 2020 and I joined directly Google after completing my graduation. I worked here for a little more than 3 years and was part of multiple teams. I started in Ensport. So, Ensport stands for Engineering Productivity. It is a realm of Google where the engineers work on enhancing the productivity of the other Google engineers who are working on user-facing products. But I was more interested in myself working on some user-facing products, so I switched teams and worked into platform team. And Google has something called as a 20% project, where you can spend 20% of your time working on some self project or working on with some other team. Obviously, with your manager's approval. So I also did a 20% project in something called a food search team. So if you search for a food item in Google and it shows up restaurant serving that particular food item, so that flow is supported by this team. I was very much active part of the interview taking committee at Google and uh, took a lot of interviews as part of Google's on-campus drive and also off-campus hiring. Last year, I left Google to join an early-stage startup called Phone. It is working in a very niche market of providing work management software to content. So I'm sure no one of you would have heard about that. So yeah, I would also love to know more about you. So you can use the chat. So, like, can you tell whether you are like students, especially graduated, or people who have some years of experience?
Also, just quickly interrupting for 1 second. If you want to ask any questions, like I think Pooja, अगर आपको कुछ सवाल पूछना है, if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat. We will be taking dedicated breaks in between and also have a dedicated Q&A session towards the end to answer all these questions. So you can either ask them on chat or you can save them in the Q&A section. We will take these questions as and when we get chance. Apart from that, the rest of the session, we request you to keep your mics on mute and feel free to use the chat to interact with us. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so I see majority of you are freshers only, and student and freshers, just one person who is right now working. And what are your current preparation statuses? Have you not started yet? Are you done with theory but have not practiced much? Have you practiced but you feel that you are unable to solve questions, or you feel that you are fully prepared? Okay, I see there has been one question by Ansika. Which language should I learn coding first? So, see, you can use any language which has good reference material on internet. You could use C, C++, Python, Java. I would recommend you select any out of these four because for these you would find a lot of resources over the internet. So whenever you are stuck, you can refer to any of the available resource and easily get answers to whatever doubts you have. Okay, so what are we going to cover in this session? So we are first going to discuss how should one select questions, and then we are going to discuss that what should be our approach to extract most knowledge out of the question or to solve the questions more efficiently. And later we would discuss about when if you are feeling stuck or you feel that you are unable to solve hard questions, what can one do there? Okay, okay. So for theory part, there are a lot of materials available out there. Like there are even jokes that hey, every person who gets into man just start their own YouTube channel teaching people DSA. So which resource should you select? So see, the theory part is going to remain same no matter which resource you refer to. They are going to teach you about algorithm, and that algorithm is going to remain same no matter which YouTube video you refer to. So the difference between multiple resources is that every person has a different style of teaching and every person has a different style of learning. So you can use any resource whichever you are comfortable with. You just need to find a resource whose teaching style actually matches your learning style so that you are able to follow them easily and you can then keep following their material. And if for some particular topic you don't think that their material is as good, you can also in that case refer to some other materials. See, many people do this thing that they select one YouTube playlist and they will just continuously keep on referring to that only for all the topics there are. But every person has strong topics and weak topics, and this is also true for the people who are making this video. So if they are making a video of their strong topics, they are going to teach you in a very brilliant way. But if they're creating a video of their weak topics, although they will try their best to explain the topic in the best way possible, but still you might be or you might not be able to follow them clearly. So in that case, feel free to just refer to some other resource. Don't dedicatedly get stuck at one resource. Don't religiously follow one resource. Your you just need to your motive is to find a resource who is teaching this particular topic in the style that suits you. So, when you are at a very beginning stage, it is to solve the question in a topic wise. I would recommend that if I will take example of LeetCode in this session because that's a website that I had followed myself, so I know how to I know tackle that especially. So like in lead code there are easy, medium and hard. So if when you are doing topic wise questions, you just do easy and some medium question. And how do you select which medium questions you should do? Lead code has something called as a acceptance percentage. So let's say if acceptance percentage is 25%, it means that only one out of four submissions are actually accepted. They on solve all the test cases. So and it allows you to sort on the basis of decreasing acceptance rate. So try maybe have a metric like okay, right, when you are solving question topic wise, only solve questions which has more than 50% of acceptance rates. You will be because then it is uh, most probably you will be able to solve that question within two tries. So we don't want to at that point look at questions which are too hard or which include too many edge cases because we are just learning right now and have very elementary knowledge. And when you are able to complete all the different topics, you will have a knowledge of what are your strong topics and what are your weak topics. After that, you can just globally sort lead code on the acceptance metrics and start doing courses on that. So maybe and also put special attention to your weak topic. So let's say if in a day you are solving 10 questions, then say do 5 questions by solving lead code globally on acceptance metrics and 5 questions especially of your weak topics. Let's see if there are any questions. Right. So now, how should you extract most knowledge out of the question, and what can you do to solve question more efficiently? See, when you are solving a question, your motive is not to just solve that question. Your motive is to extract the maximum knowledge out of it. So if the question can be solved in some alternate method, you should know about that. And how will you know about these alternate methods? So LeetCode has a discussion page for every problem, and there people explain their approach and solution very beautifully. So you should look at that discussion page even for the questions that you're able to solve. And people actually put that in the title itself that what is the language that they coded in and what is the algorithm that they use. So if you see that okay, there is someone who has solved this question with some other algorithm than what you use, then you should definitely have a look at it. And also, if you see that someone has solved the question using the same algorithm and the same language, still have a look at their codes because see, there are multiple ways of even coding a single algorithm, and there are and the different ways differ in terms of optimization. Optimization is both in terms of the runtime complexity of the solution and optimization also in terms of how fast it is to code. So if you look at someone else's code for and they are logically they have done exactly the same thing what you have done, but their code is maybe like one-fourth the length of you. So it is good for you to know that okay, how was someone able to solve the question in just so many lessons because in a lot of tests and even in a lot of interviews, you are allowed to use the standard libraries. So it is so how would you know that okay you can even perform this action using some standard library method? That would only happen if you look at someone else's code. Then you would realize that hey you spent 10 minutes coding this particular algorithm, but instead you could have actually just used the standard library method for that. So to learn those things, you need to have a look at other people's code. So the takeaway here is, if you are able to solve, even if you are able to solve a question, you should have a look at the discussion page, see if someone has solved the question with some different approach, and if they have solved the question with similar approach, look at if they have done something different in their code. So, and now coming to the part where you are not able to solve the question. So, see, your motive when you are unable to solve the question is not to just learn the solution. Your motive is to learn how you could have actually built the solution. So, there are two things to look at here. First, what was wrong in what you were doing, and what is the right approach to this question. So, you need to analyze that okay maybe you were trying to apply two pointers but the input had negative numbers, so that's why two pointer algorithm was not applicable here. So you need to analyze what was wrong in the approach that you were taking so that in a test or in an interview you don't waste your time looking at those incorrect approaches. And so whenever you try an approach and it doesn't work out, analyze that what was specifically wrong in applying this approach to this question. And if you decide that okay, you are unable to solve a question, you need to have a look at the solution. Don't just look at that okay, this is the solution. Look at the thought process. So in lead code discussions page itself, people when they post the solution, they actually post their thought process that hey, this was written in the question. It so I started thinking along those lines, then I start notice this. So I made a conclusion regarding this, and so on. So they focus on the thought process, focus that, okay, what were the triggers in the person which allowed someone to approach it in that particular way, and how that particular approach allowed them to build the solution. And when you're looking at the solution, look at it in an incremental way. What I mean is that don't just completely give up and say that, okay, I'm going to look at the logic, then I'm going to look at the code, and I'm not going to code it myself because I am just look at the solution for itself. Look at their thought process, that how they're approaching, take it as a hint, and then try to solve it yourself. If you're unable to look at the solution and try to think, okay, oh, how could you have built the solution? How what were the triggers of the person to build this particular solution? Also, because most of the time, if it's a completely new algorithm, or if it's a new way of applying an algorithm, there is something different in the code also. So you should not look at the code when you are looking at the solution. Look at the logic. Try understand the thought process of coming to that logic, and then code it yourself. Hey, Amar, I see you were raising your hand. Yeah, you can go ahead and ask your question. You can either unmute yourself or post it on chat.
Aman, if you're on the call, you can unmute yourself. You had a question, right? You were raising your hand. Okay. Anyone else who wants to ask any questions so far up until now? If anyone wants to get any clarification, any doubts they have so far, please go ahead and ask the question. You can unmute yourself. किसी को कुछ सवाल अभी पूछना है तो आप अपने आप को अनम्यूट करके पूछ सकते हैं. आप चैट पे भी क्वेश्चन ऐड कर सकते हैं अगर आप डायरेक्ट पूछना नहीं चाहते हैं तो. I think there's one question that we got here. It's from Mr. Chandra. He's a sales executive and sales IT products. Skill नहीं है मेरे पास. Okay. So he basically wants to transition from like sales of IT products into an IT career. So do you have any suggestions for him? Something that he can maybe do to transition?
Okay, so so for getting a job in IT when you are in sales, you first need to show that, okay, you have the necessary skills, and since you already have a job, the few avenues you have to showcase your skills are you can participate in some hackathons, or those are the best way. So you will have to work yourself to build the necessary skills. You can take some course, take some mentorship, etc., and learn coding, learn data structures, learn some languages and development. Take part in hackathons, and so that, okay,
Hello,
you
sir. Hello,
have
sir.
hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Ahmad, please go ahead. Yeah.
सर शो नहीं कर रहा वीडियो.
Sorry, आप क्वेश्चन क्या पूछ रहे हैं? आप क्वेश्चन पूछे. Yeah, I think there are a couple of more questions in the chat. Is full stack web development really dying because of too much competition? Is the first
No,
question.
no, they neither full stack or even the more stack development is dying, because a lot of companies keep coming up every day and the demand just keeps on increasing. So because we are just applying tech everywhere, so we need more and more development. So there is neither any saturation or not any development is dying.
Okay, I think there's one more question.
Hello,
Is
sir.
yeah, I think there's the same one. Is mon stack development saturated? Is it similar or
Hello,
similar
sir.
line?
Hello, sir.
Hey, Hamad. Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Hamad, I can hear you.
सर थोड़ा डीपली नॉलेज दीजिए, कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा अच्छे से. टॉकिंग फॉर इंग्लिश नहीं हिंदी.
आप चाहते हैं कि मैं एक बार हिंदी में एक्सप्लेन कर दूं?
यस सर, मेरे को समझ नहीं आ रहा है।
ओके, तो
थैंक
बेसिकली
यू सर।
मैं क्या बोल रहा था कि जब भी आप किसी क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व करने जाते हैं तो उसका सीधा सोल्यूशन आंसर मत देखिए। वो आप देखें कि वो आंसर उस बंदे ने कैसे बनाया था। कि एक बंदे ने कुछ सोचा होगा कि हाँ, इस क्वेश्चन में ये लिखा है, तो इसमें मैं ये चीज़ कर सकता हूँ, और उसने ऐसे सोच सोच के जो अपना पूरा आंसर है वो बिल्ड किया है। तो आपको भी वो जो उसने सोचा था उस पर फोकस करना है कि उसने ऐसा क्यों सोचा, ना कि फाइनल आंसर पे। तो जब भी आप कोई क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने का ट्राई करते हैं और आप नहीं कर पाते हैं, तो आप ये इस पर ध्यान दीजिए कि अच्छा, जिस बंदे ने ये सॉल्व किया है उसने यही आंसर क्यों सोचा, उसने इस वे में क्यों सोचा। और जब आप कोई क्वेश्चन सॉल्व कर लेते हैं तब उसके बाद भी आप दूसरों के आप देखें कि उस क्वेश्चन को क्या आप किसी और वे में सॉल्व कर सकते हैं। बिकॉज एक क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व करने के हो सकता है कि मल्टीपल डिफरेंट वेज हों, और आप हमारा काम वहाँ पे ये नहीं है कि हम बस एक तरीके से उस क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व कर लें और फिर कहें हाँ, काम हो गया। हम चाहते हैं कि उस क्वेश्चन से हम जितना सीख सकते हैं उतना सीखें। तो अगर एक चीज को हम दो तरीकों से सॉल्व कर सकते हैं तो हमें उनको दोनों तरीकों से सॉल्व कैसे करते हैं वो पता होना चाहिए। तो आप लीड कोड पे जब आप अगर यूज करेंगे तो उस पर डिस्कशन पेज होता है हर एक क्वेश्चन के साथ, जिस पे लोग अपने सोल्यूशन डालते हैं। तो वहां पे जाके आप देख सकते हैं कि अच्छा, किसी ने इस क्वेश्चन को किसी अलग तरीके से सॉल्व किया, तो आप वो कर सकते हैं। आप जब आप ये भी देख सकते हैं कि अगर किसी ने जो सेम तरीके से सॉल्व किया जिससे आपने किया, बट उसने अलग तरीके से उसको कोड किया है, तो वो भी आप देखिए। बिकॉज हो सकता है कि आप तो कुछ चीज फालतू में खुद से कोड कर रहे हैं जिसके लिए कुछ एक प्री बिल्ट मेथड है, तो आपका कोडिंग का टाइम बहुत बच सकता है। तो अगर आप खुद भी क्वेश्चन सॉल्व कर पाते हैं तो भी आप जाके देखें कि अच्छा, क्या इस क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व करने का कोई और तरीका है, या इस क्वेश्चन को कोड करने का कोई और तरीका था क्या। आई see there is another question. What's the future of developer after 40? I heard there is no future after 40. Okay. It's not true that there is no future after 40. So it depends. Like, some people keep themselves aware about the current tech, and they even code after 40. In India, I've seen there are very less people after 40 who are actually coding, but in US it is very common that people who are even in the 40, they are very much involved in tech, and because they have like so many years of experience, they are actually really good at it. And the other venue, some people go into tech leadership,
Extract most
like
knowledge.
uh, sorry, Aman.
Extract most knowledge. What is this?
या यही सब मैंने एक्सप्लेन किया अभी आपको।
सर ये
अमर, अगर आपका कोई स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चन है आप एक बार चैट में ऐड कर सकते हैं। हम आपके डिटेल क्वेश्चंस Q&A में भी लेंगे। बट या वील मूव ऑन, कंटिन्यू विद दिस नाउ, एंड लास्ट के 10-15 मिनट्स में भी हम क्वेश्चंस लेंगे, तो उसमें भी आप अगर कुछ स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चंस आपके हैं तो आप पूछ सकते हैं।
ओके सर, थैंक्स।
या श्योर, थैंक
ओके
Yeah,
सर।
यू।
so we were discussing about future of developers after 40. So one is that they remain intact, which I feel is even in India is increasing now, that people even after 35 they are very much involved in tech and they actually do code, etc. And the other when you are they do tech leadership, that they are tech lead and they lead other people. And the third one is that they move into people management or product management. So it's not like there is no future after 40. It's more like you have to keep yourself aware about the latest developments. Like if someone is right now 40, he should know what is happening uh, in the world of LLM. He should be aware about machine learning. They need to be too much hands-on, but they need to have a knowledge of what's happening in industry. They cannot use be relying on the same knowledge that they learned 15 years back and say that hey, I don't. If they are doing that, then obviously they will feel that there is no future. But if they keep themselves aware and up to date of the latest technology, then they will always be relevant themselves.
Look at solutions incrementally. Look at other solutions.
So now we come at the part where people feel that people feel stuck. A lot of people come to me and say that hey, I have been practicing for 2 months, etc. But I don't see any improvement. I'm still stuck. I'm still unable to solve those questions. So how can you tackle that? So basically, what I have created here is a learning versus time graph. So many people feel that learning versus time is a straight line. So if you are giving more time, your learning should increase continuously and proportionally, like the graph on the left. So they see that hey, I have been putting in time. I've been learning for the past 3 weeks, so I should definitely be better what I was 3 weeks ago. But in reality, that's not true. In reality, when you are learning something, there are these periods where you actually feel stuck, where you say that, hey, a person is just applying time and effort, but they don't see any
What the
change in the
future?
output. So this is a normal part of any learning experience. These are called learning plateaus, and these happen when you are learning any skill that you for whenever you're learning any skill, there comes a time where you feel that you are actually putting in effort, but you are not getting any outcome. It's just that in coding, these learning plateaus can be a bit longer. So people get disheartened that hey, I am just putting in effort, but I'm not seeing anything concrete. So how can you tackle that? The only way to get out of this learning practice is to keep putting in effort and keeping yourself positive. So they know that this feeling stuck, feeling that hey, I am unable to solve more question is a natural feeling that everyone goes through. I have gone through, and every person I know has also gone through that. So you have to just you have to be persistent. You have to keep putting in efforts, even if you're feeling stuck, and don't dishearten yourself. And with time, after you will actually start seeing improvement. So don't give up or don't feel bad about yourself when you are in this learning practice because it's a natural part of the learning experience. Okay, this is what I had on my mind to discuss with you. So now, if whatever questions you have, we can answer that.
या अगर किसी के पास कुछ भी सवाल हो, कुछ भी आप पूछना चाहते हैं तो आप अभी पूछ सकते हैं. एनी क्वेश्चंस एनीवन वांट्स टू शेयर? You can unmute yourself and ask your questions. You can also ask your questions on the chat, but yeah, if you want, you can. Okay. Uh, is it good to follow any DSA sheet? Is a question.
So when you are solving questions in a topic-wise manner, it's helpful to solve such exercises because they have them. This in this case, the questions are handpicked so that you cover all the topics and all the different ways of applying an algorithm. So it's good to follow the DSSC, but it's not like necessary if you want to solve the questions yourself. You can just go and select any question and like because there is something called a law of randomizations that if you keep on doing things randomly and the end you will cover everything. So these
सर ये क्या
sheets
बोल रहे हैं
are
मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा है. हेलो
these
सर.
hi Amar, yeah और मैं आपको explain कर दूंगा. I am just
सर कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा, आप क्या कह रहे हैं, कभी से ऐसे बोल रहे हैं, कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा है.
हाँ
अमर,
अमर
आपको आज के सेशन किस बारे में है उसके बारे में क्लैरिटी है? लाइक क्या सेशन हम क्या डिस्कस कर रहे हैं?
थोड़ा सा चैट में थोड़ा सा डिफाइन कर दीजिए ना, कुछ
हम
समझ नहीं आ रहा
आज
अच्छे से.
कोडिंग के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, तो अगर आपको इस कोडिंग के बारे में कुछ क्वेश्चन है, इंटरेस्ट है, तो आप उसके बारे में जान सकते हैं. आपका बैकग्राउंड क्या है? आप कोडिंग बैकग्राउंड के हैं? आप एक बार ये क्लियर कर सकते हैं?
नो सर.
अच्छा, तो अमरजीत, फिर आई थिंक ये सेशन आपके लिए रेलेवेंट नहीं होगा, क्योंकि हम प्राइमरली आज कोडिंग के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं। तो अगर आप कोडिंग रिलेटेड चीज़ें में इंटरेस्टेड नहीं है, आपके पास नॉलेज उसका नहीं है, तो मे बी आज का सेशन आपके लिए रेलेवेंट नहीं होगा। आप
जी सर।
अपकमिंग सेशंस का भी एक बार चेक कर सकते हैं, हमारे वेबसाइट का लिंक मैंने डाला है चैट में। तो अगर
हम्म।
आगे की कोई सेशन है जो आपके लिए रेलेवेंट हो, या फिर पुराने कुछ सेशंस हैं जो आपके लिए रेलेवेंट हो, आप वो एक बार चेक कर सकते हैं। ये शायद इसलिए आपको समझ नहीं आ रहा है।
जी सर, थैंक्स सर।
या, नो प्रॉब्लम, नो प्रॉब्लम। या, Shin, please go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, these TSSs, they in this they have themselves handpicked the question. So it's good that you would put some targeted effort. But if you are like going to solve 500 questions, then you would yourself cover everything that's in the DSSC. So it's helpful in the beginning, but in the long run, you will naturally cover everything that are mentioned in this DSSC. What is the role of DevOps? Is it a senior than full stack engineer? See, these are different roles or different ladders. So, like, there are different junior and senior DevOps. There are junior and senior full stack developers. So, in DevOps engineers role, I would is mostly around looking at the development. See, when you are in a company and you have a product, you cannot have any downtime. So you can, because it's not like, hey, you would be fine if you open Zomato tomorrow and it's not working. You would want it to be continuously working. So for that, we have the DevOps, and whenever there is a bug, the engineers work hard to make sure that it gets fixed immediately. And then you have to actually deploy that fix onto the production so that it gets reflected in everyone's to all the users. So DevOps engineers look after the deployment, and sometimes the deployment goes smoothly, but sometimes they have some particular bug fixes which we call as cherry fixes, and then they have to look at how can they, you know, in the fastest way possible, they can apply those bug fixes onto the prod. So the DevOps work is mostly around that.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's
Uh,
one question on non-technical students and how to enter in the IT industry.
Okay,
Yeah.
so first part of that is that you need to get knowledge of IT yourself. So for that, you can either refer to any YouTube or any other resource. You can also take up a paid course, or you can take up a mentorship, and then you will get knowledge of coding, you will get knowledge of development and of TSA. And then for getting a job, you need to showcase that you actually know those skills. So for that, you can either take part in hackathons, you can start building self projects, but building self projects which uh, gets is harder, or you can also start contributing to open source. So the out of these three, I would say the most effective ways are open source and participating in different hackathons, because when you are working on a hackathon, you also get a clear cut project you have to work upon. And if you are able to get a good ranking there, prize there, so it actually it looks good on your resume also, because it goes not just into the project section, it also goes into the achievement section.
Okay. Is there any other question? Ashwin, have you taken up this one, the role of DevOps in?
Yes.
Yeah, that's that done, right? Okay. Okay. Uh, अगर और किसी के पास कुछ भी सवाल है, आप पूछ सकते हैं, आप अनम्यूट करके या फिर चैट में भी ऐड कर सकते हैं क्वेश्चंस अपने। Ashwin, I think one thing that a lot of people would like to know, people who might not be watching this today, but it would be regarding the interviews and the questions that usually ask, right? So if you can give some advice on that, like how someone can prepare for it, maybe some tips and tricks to, get into these jobs better, because most people here are ideally looking for a job. So if you have any suggestions for them.
Okay. So when you are closer to interview, make sure that you are tracking the time you are taking to solve a question. Because in test or any interview, there is a ticking clock on your head, and you have to solve the question within that time. So, make when you are especially preparing for an interview and you're closer to that, track the time you are taking to solve the question. And if you can, do give a mock interview, like if you are in college, let's say, just take up and you have a friend or roommate and you take their mock interview and you give them mock interview. Those are really helpful, and because although it won't exactly simulate the job environment, an interview environment, but it is still a very much beneficial to be in that mindset that hey, you are actually sort of giving interview, and hey, even if that's a friend, but hey, that they are evaluating you, and that because in interview or a test, the main thing is that nervousness, which is through that stress. So you want to simulate that stress even when you are practicing.
Okay. And if you can share maybe a few resources that someone can, refer to, especially in the initial phase of their career, that can help them improve.
Uh, for the resources, like I said, that you have to select a resource whose teaching style matches your learning style. So that's why I never give any resource suggestions. I say that hey, there are ample resources available. Whatever you feel comfortable in, you just do that resource. Like the only resource I can say is that you can refer to Lead Code for your problem solving, and Geeks for Gigs if you like reading to learn things. But if you like watching videos, you can refer to any of the YouTube playlists that there are.
Okay. Uh, we'll just ask the audience once more if there's any more questions that someone wants to ask. अगर किसी को कुछ भी doubt है, कुछ पूछना चाहता है, अगर any questions if you have, please feel free to use this time. Uh, you can unmute yourself and ask them directly, have a conversation, irrespective of what your doubts are. And there's absolutely no reason to hesitate or feel shy. But yeah, please go ahead and ask any question if you want to do so. Okay. Uh, okay. So while we wait, Ashwin, just wanted to understand. So since most of our audience here are freshers, so is there any advice that you want to give to them? Something that would be very crucial for them while they, plan the next phase of their career and how they can grow and succeed?
I would suggest that when think along the long term and don't make decisions based on just short term. And so many people, they when they get into job, their motive is just that okay, how can I get promoted as soon as possible, or hey, how can I now switch as soon as possible. I would suggest focus more on learning, and because in the long term that really pays out much more. It, it is ironical that actually the people who focus more on learning and less on promotions are the one who get promoted faster. So think of the long term, focus more on your learning and building your skill set rather than running after promotions or just job switches. Because if you have enough skill sets, the recruiter will come and themselves approach you. You don't have to work that hard to find a job opening.
Okay. And also, what would be like an ideal roadmap? So, say someone who joins a good company and then works in it. So, what kind of growth curve can someone expect if they are doing well at their jobs?
So the growth curve depends upon company to company. So ideally, you would like to push your manager for a project which teaches you more and more, and a project which is at a very early stage, so that you can see how that project was built from the scratch, and also be able to have a lot bigger impact onto that project. And so uh, and you would then use that impact to get a project with even greater impact, and that high impact project could either lead to a promotion, or it can either allow you to switch and move to an even better company faster.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I think with that, we come to the end of this session. We don't have any more questions from the audience. If there's anyone who wants to go, now will be the last time to maybe ask a question. But in case there isn't, we'll probably move towards the end of the session. Uh, any last parting words that you want to share? Post that I can conclude this session.
Uh, the
Okay.
parting words will be that I know people feel stuck, and the time right now is also not very employee friendly, but just don't dishearten yourself and just be persistent, keep putting in efforts, don't worry about the result, and with sufficient efforts and which sometime you will start seeing the results. So
Okay.
you don't get the results incrementally as you put in efforts, the results always come at the end together. So just keep putting in efforts without worrying about the results.
Yeah. And Ashwin, do you also provide like one-on-one mentorship if someone wants to connect with you?
Yes, I provide one-on-one mentorship on TopNet, and if someone would like maybe some months long mentorship, then I provide that on TPL.
Okay. If you can share your LinkedIn, maybe if people can connect or any link that can allow people to get in touch with you, I think that'll be great. You can maybe add that on chat. And yeah. Okay. All right. So I think a huge thank you, Ashwin, for giving your valuable time here and sharing your expertise. It was a lovely session, and thank you everyone for joining in, for asking your questions. I hope we were able to help you
Sir,
through. I hope
sir,
we were able to. Sorry, one
I am
sec.
fresh. Sir, I am fresh.
Yeah. Uh, Right. Once again, a huge thank you for everyone who joined the session today. We have added Ashwin's LinkedIn profile here. So in case someone wants to connect with him on a one-on-one basis and get some more expert advice, mentorship, you can do that. We've also shared a feedback form here in the chat. So you can drop in your feedback here. If you have any questions, anything that you want us to improve, want us to do better, any particular topics that you want us to pick up for upcoming sessions, please drop your feedback. We can plan sessions accordingly. I've also shared the link to our website. So here you will find the recordings of any session that has already happened, including this one. We will be updating that very soon. You can also check the upcoming events that are coming up, something that's happening tomorrow. We are also having a couple of sessions next week. So if you want to register for those, make sure to go to our website and just fill in the form. You can also follow us on Apna Community, where we make announcements like these. Yeah, where we make announcements like these. So you can use that forum to ideally register for events by simply dropping a comment called interested, and we will be sending you an invite. With that, we come to the end of this session today. Very good evening and a very great day to everyone present here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining in. A very good night and have a great day. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Ashwin. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Good evening.
Bye.